Hello, everybody. Super good morning to everyone. This is Kevin Chan here, the usual 7:30 in the morning session, and today we're gonna talk about something that is largely very esoteric. Passage of time, right? So in BaZi or in your study of Chinese metaphysics, there is always this particular issue called timing, right? So now a lot of people have the general you want to call general mistake, or general misconception that times work like an on-off switch, right? So but unfortunately time doesn't work like an on-off switch, at least in the Chinese metaphysics sense. So today we're gonna go in and take a look on how does Chinese metaphysics make sense of time, and how does the timing component actually work in Chinese metaphysics, right? So all right, so good morning first. I can see Pekpu is around, Peter Sia is around, Jocelyn is around, Virginia is around, Winnie is around, Gigi is around. Hello, how are you guys all doing? Right, so just a bit of an update. I don't know whether it's my phone or because I've clicked just a few too many of those, and the algorithm found me. Right now they are sending me all the Indonesia natural disaster, right? So it's like road being swept off, highway disappearing, house being eaten by water. Look like it is right now is the what we call Indonesia turn. Right, so there's just too many national what we call natural disaster happening, right? So from Vietnam, the typhoon thingy, to Hong Kong, the fire thingy, then there is the Thailand also, was underwater for some time. So right now is Indonesia, right? So don't know, there's another 2 more months to go, for us to reach the full fire. By the way, you're gonna see more. Is the unfortunate part. All right, so whatever it is, let's go in and take a look at today's topic itself, right? So as usual, getting in touch with me, Telegram is the best. And for those of you who have signed up for the 2026 quick guide, right? So if you have not received the report by now, I've already done everything. So then please get in touch with me in Telegram, tell me that you have not received it. I need some information from you so that I can trace the file. It's either your email, don't know what the hell, or there are some information missing, I couldn't get in touch with you. Whichever it is, you get in touch with me first. All right, so also the same thing, you want to read things that is on printed written form of stuff, you can go for the monthly newsletter. Mainly is forecast related. There's quite a lot of stuff there. There's some books inside about what we call property selection. There's still a lot of people asking but how do I select a property? Please just go and read. Right, so then there is the community channel. Everybody come together, share information. You got anything that you want to announce, right? So you can please go and use the community channel. Basically everybody inside there are somewhat a Chinese metaphysics practitioner, so you have something that you want to discuss inside, right? So please do so, throw it into the channel itself, right? So for those of us who are more senior, right? So senior as in we have dealt with the China metaphysics longer than you, got nothing to do with our age. All right, so you can go and have a chit chat with them, right? So and get connected with each other, right? So share some information about your place, whatever. Right, come. Right, so now this is the general thing about a lot of people ask, when to do. If you're gonna ask when to do and you try to do timing in such a way, right, it's gonna be completely wrong. Timing doesn't go on and off. Right, by the way, if you take a look at it, there is no such thing as on and off. The energy is always on. It is always on and it is always off at the same time. Always on and off, yeah. So it is just which energy signature you're talking about. The energy just one taking over by another, right? So I'll try my best to graphically show you how does it look like, right? So that you have a general conceptualization and you start to understand why we say that the energy already entered at this particular point in time, right? So you don't have to wait until the full year enters. So it's just the passage of time, the way that we perceive or see it is a bit different from how a normal people, how you are trained on time, right? So you're trained on time is because you only know how to read the clock. Yeah, right. Your concept of time is basically the clock, right? So if I remove the clock, which people has already done the experiment, by the way, right? So which is they shove a bunch of people in a cave. Yeah, they shove a person, a bunch of people in a cave, whereby, you have absolutely no contact on the outer wall. It is, totally dark inside, totally silent, you don't have no indication of time at all. And then they see how does this particular people function in this, right? So in the absence of time, then you start to see that their behavior turn back into natural. So like, for example, they will naturally wake up, naturally wake up because they got no time. They don't know it's day, they don't know it's night. After some time, they'll shove inside for like a week or two. Right? After some time already, you see they naturalize, right? You see that they will naturally wake up, around about 8 hours of sleep. They will naturally wake up. So how? Right? So how does it work? And also, you guys seen enough of the sci-fi movie. The further away you are from a center of gravity, the slower the time would work, right? So it's called time dilation. So if you guys have seen the Interstellar, right? I think it's in Interstellar, right? So where the people on the ship versus the people on the planet, right? So the people on the planet only pass a few hours, the guys on the ship already pass a few years because of the different gravitational pull. So you see time is not actually a real thing. Right, it's not actually a real thing. It's how you perceive. It's also the same thing that, if you see that, when you're happy, time go faster. When you're sad, it just stands still, right? But the time doesn't move on. Right? So there's just too many people arguing about, does it be this time, that time, that. Sometimes not really very what we call important. Right? So come, let's take a look at, how does the time move in the world of Chinese metaphysics. Right, so now this is, you guys know, this is basically the sequence of the heaven stamp. Right, so this is the sequence of the heaven stamp itself. So, heaven stamp move. Now, you see, this is not a straight line. The heaven stamp sequence is basically you want to say it's a circle. So, which means after Kui already, it will reconnect back to Jia. Right? So, it's just presented in a straight line. So, that's why a lot of people think that time, goes one way. No, in Chinese metaphysics, the time basically is just a loop. Right, it just go like a loop, right? So it doesn't really go. So which means that there's actually no start and end. There's no such thing as starting time and ending time. Right, it has been moving in such a way, right? So that's why a lot of people say, I want to time the entry. There's no time the entry. Whenever you go in, there is already an active energy going on at that particular time. It's whether you are able to align the active energy. Right, so you are able to do the alignment to the active energy, right? So it's aka called ride the wave. A lot of people like to use the entire idea of wave, right? So it's because why, right? Where is the starting of the wave? Where's the ending of a wave? You don't know, which wave is which wave, right? So you can only catch a wave, right? So you can only catch a wave, right? So which is how you ride the wave. So let's take a look at an example, right? So this is an example of the rough energy signature of a wood energy. Specifically, it's called Jia. Right? So if you take a look at it, the Jia energy, right? So it will be at the peak. It's at the peak. It is not at the start. At the peak, around Jia. Makes sense, right? Right? Jia energy is peaking at the Jia area. So when is it the weakest? The weakest is at Geng, because that's the clashing element. You guys learned the clashing element already. So it is the weakest at the Geng, right? Does it get shut down at the Geng? No, it doesn't get shut down at the Geng. It is just get into the lower point. So after that already, then it started going up again. Right? Can you see that the energy actually does not discontinue? It always continues. The energy always continue flowing. It is just, whether in a spectrum range, high frequency or low frequency. Right? It is either high or low. It is never off. Right? It is not a 1-0 kind of situation. Right? So it is either low or it went back up. So whenever, right? So you want to use the what we call the energy of the wood. You know that wherever that you are using it, the energy is always there. It is just how much the intensity of the energy or the concentration of the energy. Right, the concentration of the energy that is there, right? So if we superimpose another energy, right? So this is basically the energy of Earth. So if you take a look at the energy of Earth, right? So of course, if it's Wu Earth, then the peak is basically at Wu Earth, right? The peak is actually at Wu Earth. Then the lowest point is basically at Jia, because Jia is the one that counter Wu Earth, You guys understand? So now tell me, all right? So if you're at the position of Jia right now. right? Is there any energy there? No? If you are using Jia energy, then good for you. If you are using Wu energy, then it's basically non-functional. So as one energy goes up, another energy goes down. But both this energy is active at the same time. Makes sense for you, right? So there is no situation whereby there is no energy. Right? So why are you trying to time it? You can only align the energy, right? So if we move on, if we just move again, right? So this is basically the the energy signature. If you take a look at it from the perspective of the water, right? So which is Ren water, right? So Ren water peak at Ren, no? Right? Peak at Ren, right? So when it peak that time, this is where you can feel or you can see, where you can identify, right? Where you can see and identify. So like wave, right? So you need to see, you can only see the wave when the wave is at peak, right? So when it's forming under the water, you can't see, right? So it's like a tsunami, right? So tsunami, where does tsunami come from? When it is like towering water wall, that time you call it a tsunami, or it's because it formed from the displacement of water from under the sea, aka called a earthquake. An earthquake under the sea, it displaces the water, so it pushes the water. So by the time you see the wall, right, it's already too late. The thing is already forming. So the entire problem with a lot of the natural disaster is that by the time you see it, which is our natural way of determining thing, right? So we are, a lot of time very too visual of it, right? By the time you see the thing, is already too late. It's already at the peak. Right, so then that this one, what counter the Ren water is basically Wu Earth. So Wu Earth is at the lowest, but when the Wu Earth is at the lowest, when the Ren water is at the lowest at the Wu Earth, the Wu Earth energy is at the peak. So right now, question to you, at this particular point in time, should you be using Ren water or using Wu Earth to get your task done? And you understand that both Wu Earth and Ren water also can get the task done. It is just the methodology or the way is different. It's just different way of getting things done. It's like bad example, right? So if you want to shoot certain thing, you can use arrow, you can use knife, you can use bullet. There is a lot of way to skin a cat, to put it in a way, right? So why a lot of people are very stubborn? Oh, at this current point, it's this energy. If this energy is low, then use some other energy. Right, so if this fuel source is not available, use a different fuel source. Understand or not? Right, so then if you take a look at the energy of the fire, right? So energy of the fire, then you will start to see that, okay, right? So let's say Ping fire, right? So Ping fire peak at Ping, right? So then where does it go to the lowest? Is basically at Ren counter Ping, right? Makes sense, and you add in the last metal, right? So you got Geng, when the Geng is lowest is around Ping, right? So if you plot for every single 10 of them, you will see that it is just forming a, it's just forming a, this cyclone loops that is basically, just spinning in a thing, right? So which means that the entire, you want to call it timeline, it is always saturated with energy. So one energy low, another energy high, then the other energy is lower, a bit lower, lower. So at any point in time, can you see that there is always energy active? Right, and the active energy is always there. There is no such thing as a situation whereby there is no energy. So same thing also, a lot of people say, oh this particular place are energy very low, right? So we'll go for excursion, right? Next year bring you, right? So I will explain to you, between high frequency energy and low frequency energy. Right, all these kind of things, you need to have a general conceptualization of this. So this is graphic conceptualization. So that's why when we look at the 2026, which is a Ping Wu year, right? 2026 Ping Wu year. So a lot of people say that, hey, the energy has already entered into 2026. Because why? Later I show you. Now, one of the month is Ping. So the Ping energy is already active. Right, so when the Ping energy is already active, it naturally connects to the the other, which is the underlying energy. So you start to feel the stuff. So that's why a lot of people say that whatever that's happening, the 3 months period, right? So the 3 months period, the dog month, the pig month, the rat month, the ox month, right? So this particularly 3 month period will have already given you a taste of what is basically coming on the 2026 So this is the small wave, but it's also big before the tsunami whack you. Is that right? So it is the rain before the typhoon basically coming. It's that sort of situation, right? So you start to feel the effect of it, right? So now this is, you know, heaven stamp, right? So the earthly branch, right? So the earthly branch also have their own, you know, specific rhythm, right? So it also doesn't run away from the what we call the clashing component. So no, again, right? So this one is basically the wood, right? So this is basically the wood energy, right? So now this one, if you want to study the official what we call the official syllabus, is basically called the 12 growth phase, right? 12 growth phase, as we talk about this, right? So if you study the 12 growth phase, you know, you see that, you know, this is Changsheng, Mo Yu, right? So these are basically the 12 growth phase. So you talk about the, you know, energy modulation of it, right? So you guys know that, no, again, the wood energy, yin would basically be clashing with the shen. So you know that, you know, when yin is active, you know, shen is low. When shen is active, then yin is low, right? So you take a look at it, right? So it's right. So, you know, they seems to be, you know, convoluting with each other, right? So, and then, you know, if you take a look at the fire and also the water. So now if you combine the top and bottom, right? Yeah, you know, you got a pillar, right? So you combine heaven stem and top and bottom, you can see that there is actually a lot of energetic line that is going all over the places at the same time, right? So that's why, you know, the entire idea of thinking that, you know, at certain time whereby there is no energy, when is the right timing, I think that concept is not really very correct, because at any one time, you know, the energy is always active. It is just which energy. So, you know, it's like your house, you know, always have plug point that have electricity, but the trick is that, you know, different plug point, the electricity come on in a different timing. So your question should be, you know, which plug point should I use? It's not whether there is energy or don't have energy. So in feng shui, it's the same. Any place that you go, there is an energy. There's no place that they don't have energy signature. The question is that this particular energy is suitable for what sort of activity. So that's why every single house also is a good feng shui house, but it's only good for certain activity. If it doesn't match the activity that you want, there's two things, like either you go and change your house or change an area whereby it support the activity, or you change your activity. Right now, in the end, you perform certain activity is because there's a result or there's a problem that you want to settle. It is not because you enjoy doing that work, right? So it's like going to work, right? So why do you go to work? Because you need the salary, right? So there's a lot of people say that, oh no, doing work is not really for money, right? So I tell you, tomorrow your company tells you that no more salary is going to be given, you can continue to do the work. You try and see how many people will still go to the work, right? So that's why a lot of people talk rubbish a lot. Tell people that, oh, you know, you shouldn't be doing things, you know, because of money, right? So if I turn off the money, I see you how long you're going to be doing the same thing again, right? Ask yourself that question, right? So now, here again, right? So now you have the general conceptualization that energy actually just modulate, right? So it modulates, and one energy will replace another energy, right? So there is always energy around. Right, so there's no such situation whereby don't have energy around, right? So now we're can able to take a look at, you know, what is the timing of the energy, right? So if you take a look, right, so we know that a lot of people has already told you, if you go for any event, they will tell you that, oh, actually in the month of August, which is the fire dog month, right, the energy of the fire has already entered the year. You will hear them say this, right? The energy of the fire has already entered. What the hell does that mean? So it means that, you know, in the modulation of the energy, the fire energy during this particular time is already at its most active state, right? It is active state. So it will continue to be active until it hits rainwater. At least for the pink fire, it will continue to be active. The pink fire energy will continue to be active, which means that it will be potent. If you are using this particular energy, you will see its effect, right, until it will reach rainwater. So rainwater is the month of March. So you will see that the pink fire will be active from pink to red. There will be about 5 months. So this in this, you know, 5 say log 7, all right? So whatever it is, right? So no, so so the same thing is the same thing. If you apply, you know, when does the earthly stem fire would basically be starting to rage, where will it go, right? So then you need to wait until, you know, we need until a horse. So December, which is this month, the red come in. That is where the horse energy is the lowest, right? Horse energy is the lowest, right? So at this current point, after this, the horse energy only is slowly is going to be going up. Then it's going to max itself at the horse, right? It max itself at the horse. So which means that if you take a look at this, right, the point whereby the March, right? So because by the time you reach March, which is the Ren Chen, right? So when you reach the Ren Chen itself, the fire energy for the heavenly stem has already reached the lowest point. Okay, whereas the earth energy of the what we call horse has not fully entered into its peak point. So the month of March and also April basically does not really have much of a fire energy inside. So these are what we call void period. All right, so in terms of looking at timing, there is always this thing called void period, right? So void period means that this particular period is free for all, right? It's a free for all period, you know, which means the influence of fire is the lowest. So it's a great time to break free and switch. Okay, it's great time to break free and switch. So the entire game right now is to understand, you know, how do you play around with the energy and when should you be ready. When should you? So if you want to use the energy of fire, right? So you want to use the energy of fire. So you can see that, you know, it is during the time after the mid, when the horse come in, that both the fire energy basically is going to kick in. So it is going to be around, right? If you take a look at it, it's going to be around June, July, August. Especially after August, then both. So the August month, September, and October month, that 3 months is where both the energy of the fire is active. So that is the point whereby it is most intense. So if you want to use the energy of fire for the 2026, this is going to be the period whereby, you know, you need to have all the thing ready. This is not the time you start. So a lot of people mistake is that they wait until that time, then only they start. No, you need to get everything ready, right? So this is where we call it the if you're cooking, right, this is where the pan is at the most optimum heat. If you're cooking, you know, if the pan is not at the optimal heat, you put the ingredient in, it will stick onto the pan. If it's overheat, you put the ingredient in, it will chow down. Right, there is always the optimal timing for the pan, right? So, you know, in cooking, if you're using a pan, then, you know, it's say that, you know, when you spray water onto the pan, the water become a bubbly surface, right? So bubbly surface, you know, it will run around the thing. That is when the heat is the most optimal. Right, so, you know, if you go for tai chow, then it is always optimum. That's why the heat is like that tai chow, right? So it's that. But if that is the point, then only you start to prepare your ingredient. Gone lah. Understand or not? Right? So this is where you need to start to throw everything in and start cooking already. Right? So this is the point that you need to understand, right? So that's why, you know, when you try to do this particular timing thing, there is no on-off. Please don't time it. Right, so it's either you are working towards it, but you need to roughly know when it is, right? So which means that the year of 2026, if you take a look at it, right? So if you are specifically talking about the energy of the fire horse, right? So first half of the year, actually, you will not really see the intensity of the fire horse. Only the last half of the year, right? So which means that for the rat would actually not feel anything, right? So the rat is the one that mainly going to be get clash, right? So, and next year, you know that the rat doesn't really have any usable good star to support it, right? So half of the year is basically fine, you know, the fella. that is the end of the year, which is, we're going to get pound. So if you take a look at this particular effect, then, right, so the rat is going to go into the year grossly unprepared for whatever that's going to happen there, right? For those blur case rat. So, they say that, rat this year is no good, right? So beginning of the year, right, the rat actually doesn't, right, doesn't actually do anything, right? So, and then that's it, right? So what you call, does it mean that the scene in March is very, very weak? Scene in March is very weak. Not exactly. Which scene first? Right? You're talking about heavenly stem sin, or you're talking about earthly branch sin? Earthly branch sin mean that the you lah, right? So the you, right? So again, the heavenly stem and the earthly branch both have different energetic frequency, and both of them basically just mix with each other, right? So it's a bit different. See which one that you want to go. So sin is normally weakest during the general clash time, which is the Ting fire. So you take a look where the Ting fire. So like for this particular year, the sin energy for the heavenly stem is going to be the lowest in the month of where Ting fire is September. September, the sin metal energy is the lowest. Okay, right, so this is where it is clash, so you isolate it, but overall, if you take a look, the metal energy, then you need to go and analyze the entire thing, right? I don't have a software to plot this, right? I can only generally tell you it's like that, right? So, and then the main question, Olga, you're asking main question, okay, the sin metal energy is weak, so use another energy, that's it, right? So if this is weak, use another energy. If this road is jammed, use another road. Understand or not? Okay. So that's the entire idea, when we are playing around with planning for, let's say, Chinese metaphysics, is to get as many alternatives as possible. It's not to get you stuck in one place, right? At any one time, any one moment at all in time, right, there is going to be energy that's low, there's going to be energy that's vibrant. So it's the question of using the vibrant energy against, getting yourself too fixated with the low level of energy. Right, so, and then too many people say, oh, but my day master is sin metal. Day master is sin metal is for you to know only. That's it. It is not for you to be stuck. Okay, right? So it's the idea of, your day master is sin. So then what are you going to do about it? Right? Then you know that, at this current point in time, your day master is basically, a piece of useless thingy. Then, don't act like that day master. That's it only, Don't go and use the day master or any information in there as an excuse to not improve yourself. Too many people is like that. I'm sin metal so I'm like that one rainwater is like that law. No such thing. Okay, right? You will already know like that, and you still act like that, and that acting like that at that point in time is basically a detrimental effect. Then you are pretty bad in this situation, right? So this is, can you see that this is basically the energetic movement, right? So, and if you got a lot of time, and you basically is something that somebody who's in the realm of physics, I think, right? So you can go and do your plotting on all of this, and you can add it up together. You can actually use a model to plot this up. You can do that, no problem. No, but it's not something that I'm interested in doing. So generally, when you take a look, especially you can also take a look at your luck pillar, right? So luck pillar 10 years, right? So a lot of people say that, when does this luck pillar actually start? Now you know how to time the luck pillar starting now. No, if it's let's say your luck pillar is Ping Wu, find the nearest Ping. That's where it starts, okay, that is where, at least that is where it peak it's not really start right? So you want to start, then you go and find the youth phase, right? So 12 growth phase, the youth phase, Qiongshang, right? So go and find that one, right? So that is where the starting point, but that one is only applicable to the what we call your branch and energy. So same thing, right? So you take a look at it, then you take a look at when the branch energy actually kicks in. Right, so then you'll find that the two peak energy, then you know that anything after the peak energy which is active, before the peak energy is less active, building up towards, right? So then you roughly know. So some people the entire luck pillar is arranged in such a way that the entire luck pillar is basically void one. empty, right? So which means that the luck pillar doesn't really affect the person. The luck pillar actually does not get activated. So the energy of the stem just got kicked off before entering the luck pillar, right? So which means that, you know, at least there's another 10 more years that it is not on before, you know, it kick on again. And also same thing is that, you know, the branch only kickstart, you know, after the entire thing has left. Then what to do? You tell me, right? So the entire luck pillar doesn't work. Right? So, you know, that's basically it, right? So you can take a look at it, you know, so to fully utilize the particular energy, right? So it is about understanding what is the rhythm of the energy, right? What is actually the rhythm of the energy, and to ride wave from one to another is really, the timing is like wave, and then it is just a circular thing from each other. So which means that the 12th earthly branch will move, right? So after you reach the end, then, you know, you come back, so it's a circle, and then the heaven stem is also a circle, right? Just like that. So it's like the, you know, planet orbiting the sun, just like that, right? Just like that. It will go back to the same place, right? So it's just like that. So that's why a lot of time Chinese metaphysics predictable in a way is because they understand that everything happened in a cyclical manner, right? It's just a cyclical study of things that is happening, and the idea is that the planet, universe, the constellation, as you want to call it, you know, whatever that is inside cosmic, the energy that get bombarded into our small little planet, it does affect the way that we make decision. It affects the way that we perceive the world, and hence once you understand the pattern, things become predictable, right? So it's like analyzing somebody's characteristic. So if you know that this particular person characteristic is like that, it's very easy for you to predict, given a situation, how would a person with this sort of characteristic would make the decision. And hence, when you are doing this particular reading, it looks, sounds, feel like very accurate, right? The only reason why it is accurate is that we understand that your template, your framework, which is what your BaZi does, causes this sort of result when this sort of situation arises. And it's very, very difficult for a person to change their behavior, right? So that's why the predictive nature or the guessing nature of doing this become very accurate. That's the only reason, right? So some people ask that, you know, what if I'm, you know, not this type of person? See whether how long can you be not this type of person. Like for example, you know, everybody go to work because of the salary, right? So it's like, you know, oh, but no, I tell you, I stop the salary and see whether you continue to go to work or not. Right? Understand, you know, right? So, you know, it's very easy to test one a lot of time, right? So you stop the salary, you know, see whether you still go to work. Straight away you won't go to work, lah. Right? So that is the entire idea, lah. No, so if, like, you know, you say that, you know, oh no, we go to work is because, you know, there's this sense of growth. If I stop the sense of growth, you will still go to work, you know, as long as salary is there. So, but the difference is you will go to work until you find another job lah that pays you the salary. Right? Even if there's zero sense of growth, you know, zero, you know, there are some people in the industry, you know, whereby, you know, they don't even need respect. Right? Respect, and some people, oh no, no, in the work, you know, I need to feel good, you know, feel respect, right? So, you know, give you $2 million a year and see. Right? You don't even, you know, require respect at all. You know, you can step on me. Right? So, you know, this one is basically very true. Right? So, like for example, you know, it is very difficult to fight those you know, those online gambling. Right? Those online gambling. It's like, oh no, gambling is bad. The fella come to your doorstep, tells you that, you know, no, we got a deal here, you know, 100 million deal. Right, for this year, you know, you just have to, you know, appear on your show and, you know, start to promote. That's why, you know, you still understand, you know, why there is a lot of influencer, you know, no choice. You want the 100 million, you know, they can pay you, you know? For you to promote that, right? So you see, absolute, right? So money sometimes, talk absolute. As long as, for you is that not enough money, lah. Enough money, you'll do different things. So same stuff is basically happening here. If you want to predict, right? So, somebody say, oh, I want it to be accurate, no such thing, right? So, but that roughly at this current time, these are the energy that's basically is active. So if I do my things which is in line with this sort of energy, right, so then everything will basically be smoother, smoother, right? So because there's still a question of competency, right? So it's still a question of competency, and competency can only be built by continuously or repeatedly performing that particular task and repeatedly learning about that particular task. All right, cool, right? So this is my piece to you in terms of timing wise, for you to at least understand the entire concept of timing in the Chinese metaphysics, right? So in Chinese metaphysics, there are no such thing as what we call lose the time, as in I miss the timing, or I miss the timing. No, there's no such thing as missing a time, right? Oh my god, you're late, John. Right, you're not late, right? So you're not late, you're just in a different part of the show. Right, you're at the different junction of the show. That's it. Okay, right? So guys, take care of yourself, right? So tomorrow we'll see you again. Bye. Oh no, tomorrow I won't be seeing you. I got work to do early in the morning. Okay, see you guys.